should you use Webflow e-commerce for your next project? The answer might be no. Let's find out. My name is Urosh and I'm the founder and CEO of Flow Ninja. And over the past years, we've built a lot of high traffic e-commerce websites on Webflow. And in the process, we've identified which websites are great to be built on Webflow e-commerce and which might not be great for the use case. We've seen two different use cases where Webflow is the perfect fit. The first one is if you have a really boutique e-commerce store and you want to showcase your brand and you want to have something really custom without actually getting to custom development like you would need to in any other use case. This can also be for some sort of an event you're building or anything of that matter, where you're gonna need to sell tickets and create an e-commerce website around that. On top of it, the first use case can also be said for memberships, courses, or personal coaching and stuff like that. And if you want to go in that direction and sell stuff like that on Webflow, it's gonna be the perfect fit in a short answer. On a different note, if you have some really complex e-commerce stores in terms of designs, a lot of pages, a lot of different maybe enterprise ready features, you might also consider Webflow as a solution. And I'll showcase an example of a website which is really complex and which has been built on Webflow and on Webflow e-commerce. In these cases, usually again the alternative was headless custom builds which were kind of built from scratch, maybe even in React, and then connected to Shopify on the backend. On the other side, where Webflow might not be the greatest fit for you is if you're gonna need to use a lot of plugins on the backend. So if you're just starting out, probably you should maybe even like avoid Webflow. Maybe Shopify is gonna be the best solution for you if you're just starting out, you haven't tested the market, you don't have revenue and stuff like that. It might not be the best tool out there for you. And on the other side, if you're using a lot of apps that maybe Shopify has, in that case, you might also wanna go ahead and consider leveraging maybe a headless Webflow route, where your front end is gonna live on Webflow and the backend is gonna be powered by Shopify. In that case, you're gonna get the flexibility and the front-end development on Webflow to make everything look really nice and to make everything really custom. And then on top of that, you're gonna integrate directly with Shopify on the backend and ensure that they process payments in the best way possible and that you leverage their huge ecosystem for the e-commerce apps and stuff like that on the backend. But when it comes to those two ideal solutions, let's go ahead and take a look at two websites and showcase what feature sets from Webflow they're using and why I think Webflow is a great fit for something like this. The first one is actually a website from our portfolio. It's a conference built by my friend Vlada, and I'm actually kind of speaking at this conference this year. In his case, he wanted to create something really custom in terms of the brand, showcase his brand, and for that he needed a really custom landing page. He has different methods of payment. People can pay from their company, people can pay at his bank, like just kind of submit an invoice and kind of pay even on the from the personal name, or they can pay via the credit card. On top of that, we wanted to showcase euros, then we wanted to showcase how that converts to dinars and add VAT on top of that. And the great thing is, like, all of these things were possible natively in Webflow with a sprinkle of custom development. I mean, of course, like, nothing can pass without custom development, but the great thing was that we were able to create a website which represents the brand, which represents the premium aspect of the conference itself, because in this use case, the tickets for the conference are really expensive. Even if you're just launching the conference, you want to go ahead and make sure that you represent your brand from the beginning to the end in the best way possible, and the best way to do that is through a nicely designed website which is showcasing everything that your business has to offer. Previously, he was on WordPress, where he was using templates which were not looking so professional, and like adjusting that required a lot of time. And on Shopify, he would probably end up buying a template and he couldn't probably create something as unique as this to showcase the brand and to also showcase all the feature sets he wanted. In this case, we were able to create a way for people to pay by submitting an invoice and whatever, to create even a custom checkout, because this is also pretty hard to do in some use cases when you go to Shopify or anything like that, to create a checkout which is gonna be on your brand. And also on the thank you sides, we were able to go ahead and create custom items on the thank you pages in order to make sure that the user flow is as good as possible. So as mentioned, if you're selling courses, if you're creating conferences which are kind of like on this level, meetups, if you're creating maybe even a boutique e-commerce store where you're selling some specific handmade jewelry and you want to tell your brand story in the best way possible, Webflow e-commerce is going to allow you to do so. And there's probably not a lot of different tools who are going to allow you to build visually and to build your e-commerce store. On the other side, if we move to a great use case, is maybe you don't need the actual checkout, but the website still needs to be e-commerce. And one fun thing I saw is actually in Serbia, the Rolex's website is on Webflow. I mean, like, I'm a huge fan of kind of nice watches and stuff like that, so seeing that Rolex uses Webflow is a big thumbs up for me. You can see here that their only alternative was custom development, and by leveraging Webflow, they were able to create everything and create a website website visually and still keep the brand, tone and voice, and like all of the functionalities they have on all of the other websites across the world, but they didn't have to do custom development and like go in the custom route, which was really tricky to manage. Of course, this had a lot of different kind of moving pieces probably on the back end. I would love to interview a person who has built this. You can see that Webflow can be a great fit where you have something really unique and custom, which would usually require development. So you can go ahead and visit both of the websites, see how they work, and see how would Webflow fit into that case. And then on the other side, as we mentioned, where Webflow is not going to be the greatest fit for you is if you're just starting out, it's probably going to take you 5 or 10 minutes to go ahead and open up a Shopify store and start selling. And probably only when you come to a point that you need to have some custom features, that you want to represent your brand in a different way, and that you want to go the level up and you have the budgets to go level up, and that's actually going to give you more money. That's where you can start thinking about Webflow e-commerce or combining Shopify and Webflow as a headless CMS, a combination between those two to go ahead and create something really unique, pretty, and custom, and to fulfill everything on the back end through Shopify. Hopefully that gives you a little bit more understanding. One additional thing where Webflow might not be the right fit for you is that it currently integrates with Stripe and PayPal. And these are available across the world, but some people want to process through their own local payment processing systems. So in that case, also looking at a headless solution where Webflow is the front end and maybe Shopify or whatever is on the back end might be a better solution for you. So if you have any other questions about Webflow e-commerce, what is possible, what is not possible, or you just want to showcase a website you're really proud you've built in Webflow with Webflow e-commerce, you can leave a comment down below and I'll make sure to answer every single one of them.